UFC 307 has just taken place. Overall, there was 12 fights on the card with 5 wins coming by finish. We're starting off with the main event, Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree. What a fight that was. Nobody expected that fight to play out that way. Nobody thought Khalil Rountree would have any sort of success against Alex Pereira. What a fight that was. That really definitely exceeded expectations in my opinion. Now, I did pick Khalil Rountree to beat Alex Pereira. I didn't really give a descriptive reason as to why I thought that. I just had a feeling Khalil Rountree was going to win, and I just went with that feeling. But Khalil Rountree, going into round 4, was arguably up 2 rounds to 1, in my opinion anyway, against Alex Pereira. So starting off in at round 1, it was clear what Khalil Rountree's game plan was going in there against Alex Pereira, and that was to blitz in with 2-3 punch combinations to try and catch Alex Pereira as he exits out. Now, what we did see in this fight that Khalil Rountree was able to expose Pereira for, I wouldn't really say expose, but I seen it and I thought there could be an opening there, and that is when Pereira is trying to avoid shots, he backs up, not cuts angles, but he backs up, and we seen that when Khalil Rountree put a 2 or 3 punch combination together, he was landing on Alex Pereira. Now, at the start, Khalil Rountree was struggling to find his range in there. The size difference between both guys, Khalil Rountree is a big guy, but Pereira was visibly bigger, much bigger than him in my opinion anyway. But a great first round for Khalil Rountree. Alex Pereira again, Khalil Rountree was having a lot of success in the earlier rounds, yes, but it was just Alex Pereira's just constant pressure. Yes, he would back off when Khalil Rountree was exploding in with his combinations, but Pereira was constantly making Khalil Rountree work, move, had him on the back foot, which is just draining. And one thing I can say about Alex Pereira is, for a guy who's so heavy, I always thought in the later stages, his power might fade, he might not be able to keep up at the pace that he goes at, or the pace that he fights at, but Pereira shows no sign of fatigue, and it is insane. It's insane. Also, another factor going into this was, how would Pereira be able to operate with Khalil Rountree being a southpaw, and with Alex Pereira's best weapon being his calf kick? We've seen this before, though. I'd spoke about it in a breakdown before. Pereira can throw the calf kick just as effective of his lead leg, and we've seen that in there against Khalil Rountree. Khalil Rountree took a lot of unanswered kicks in there. He didn't really check them, but again, that's just Alex Pereira. He's the best leg kicker in the UFC, in my opinion. His placement, the power, and just the way he disguises them, there is no telegraph that Alex Pereira is going to throw a leg kick at all. You just cannot telegraph it. But like I said, Khalil Rountree, very successful round 1. Round 2, I believe, is when Alex Pereira went to throw the head kick and got caught with that right hand from Khalil Rountree, who put Pereira down. Now, that was a big shock for everybody, let's be honest, but it was kind of like a glancing shot. It was like his wrist hit him. Pereira wasn't hurt though. Pereira got right back up to his feet. I feel like though that was the big changing point in the fight. And we heard Glover Teixeira talk to Pereira about that when they went back to the corner. It seemed like Alex Pereira was kind of, not that he wasn't taking Khalil Rountree serious, that wouldn't be the word I would use, but after he got dropped and he went back to his corner and Glover said, watch with the head kicks, Pereira kind of hit a switch and he seemed to be more alert in there. Pereira's jab tonight was phenomenal. He was just landing on Khalil Rountree at will with that jab. Khalil Rountree obviously went into this fight with a cut that he obviously knew about, because it did reopen on the nose. It was brutal. The shape Khalil Rountree ended that fight in was honestly disgusting. Fair play to the guy, but we will get on to that. But his corner seemed to have known that. They did speak to him about that. In between, was it the first round? I think they said the cut's open, but we expected this, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, good round 2 for Khalil Rountree, dropped him. Then we get into round 3. I believe it is round 3, I'm trying to remember. He didn't drop Alex Pereira, but he did catch him whenever he was blitzing in. Khalil Rountree's blitzes tonight were really on point. Khalil Rountree looked really impressive in there. Now, I know he didn't deserve this title shot, and I'm not going to try and argue that point, but Khalil Rountree showed in there that he is a top-level contender in this light heavyweight division. Nobody, especially in the striking department outside of Adesanya, has been able to push Alex Pereira the way Khalil Rountree did in there. Khalil Rountree was having a lot of success. I believe, in the third round as well, that's where he landed that body kick. It didn't, stun Pereira, but he dropped his hands and kind of just, fell back into the cage. You've seen that it did have an effect on Alex Pereira, but you could see coming to the end of the third round that Khalil Roundtree was really starting to fatigue. The leg kicks were starting to add up on Khalil Roundtree, and the fact that I don't know if it would have been any different, the fact if they weren't in altitude or not, but it seemed like Khalil Roundtree was fading and fading fast. Then we get into round 4, and it was just a matter of time. Khalil Roundtree showed so much heart in there. Hats off to the guy. The guy's an absolute warrior. I mean, just look at what Pereira was putting on him. Pereira was putting a beating on the guy, and he did not want to go down. He did not want to fade. He was in there, backed up against the cage, hurt time and time again, but he was still throwing. And really what it was that put Khalil Roundtree down was the 2 hooks to the body of Alex Pereira. Khalil Roundtree, yes, he was hurt, but fuck, the guy just did not want to go down. But when Pereira let those shots go to the body, it kind of buckled Khalil Roundtree. It was a good stoppage. Khalil Roundtree really, really impressed me tonight in there. I think he impressed everybody. No one expected that, but Pereira is a different beast. Like, I really don't see anybody beating that guy in the light heavyweight division. Not even Ankalaev. Next up in the co-main event, women's bantamweight title fight, Juliana Pena, Raquel Pennington. Juliana Pena won that fight. I don't really want to talk much on it, to be honest. Next, Jose Aldo. This is what I want to talk about. Aldo was robbed in there against Mario Batista. I don't care what anybody says. Aldo won that fight 2 rounds to 1. Now, something needs to change in the judging criteria, because how can Mario Batista shoot 10 takedowns, I'm pretty sure that was the number, 10 takedowns against Aldo and not secure a single one, but be rewarded for that? But Aldo doesn't get rewarded for defending the 10 takedowns. That doesn't make any sense at all. How does that make any sense? Not only did he fail every takedown he went for, when he got Aldo against the cage, he done nothing. He didn't work to go to a better position. He didn't really work any takedowns. I mean, he did attempt a couple of takedowns, but he wasn't really going for them, you know what I mean? He would just drop his levels so they weren't split up again. He didn't land any damaging shots outside of 1 elbow in round 1, which is the round that I give Mario Batista. He done nothing when he had Aldo against the cage. And in the striking exchanges, Aldo won. He busted him open in the second round. Aldo won the striking exchanges in this fight. I just don't get what we're doing here. How can you reward that performance? He literally done nothing. He stalled the entire fight. He didn't do anything. Aldo defended all the takedowns. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Something needs to change. Aldo was robbed 2 rounds to 1 in there. Roman Dolidze got the win over Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland looked good starting off that fight. Roman Dolidze was visibly bigger in my opinion. Like I said, I think Kevin Holland's best weight class for him is the welterweight division. Roman Dolidze was able to take Kevin Holland down. Kevin Holland, though, he did get injured in this fight. That's one thing we have to include. But Roman Dolidze was landing damaging shots from top mount at the end of the round. But Kevin Holland was doing a good job defending himself. When he went back to the corner, he made it clear that he had a rib injury. Thankfully, his corner did the right thing and stopped it, because Kevin Holland more than likely would have went out there and continued to fight. And what's the point? Like, you're just going to take an even worse beating, to be honest. So, big respect to his corner for actually doing the right thing. Then we move on to the main card opener, Caitlin Vieira, Kayla Harrison. Kayla Harrison's grappling is really impressive. Like, when she gets you down to the mat, her grounding pound is nasty. But her issue is, if she can't trip you or sweep you, she can't really get you to the mat. And her striking, now her inside low kick tonight was really, really impressive. She caught Vieira off balance a lot of times with that. Her kicks in general were pretty okay, but her hands and her striking defense need a lot of work in my opinion. But I do think that Kayla Harrison will comfortably become women's bantamweight champion. Although, say Amanda Nunes does come back, Amanda Nunes has hands. I think she would beat Kayla Harrison, but who knows? And just quickly going over the prelims, Joaquin Buckley got the biggest win of his career when he KO'd Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in the 3rd round. Brutal KO. What else do I want to talk about? Ryan Spann with an impressive first round submission over OSP. And Court McGee submitted Tim Means in round 1, which is just something that I did not expect to happen. Overall, UFC 307 was a great card. Maybe not great. Good card, but was saved by a great main event. Let me know your opinions on the card in the comments below. And as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you again in the next one.